Hello everyone, welcome to this session. So in this session, we will talk about write an objective function. So first, what is objective function? So in many cases, it's often necessary to write a function for evaluation purpose. We often heard of cost functions, right? So this means we need to evaluate the cost of a given problem solution or an input. So in machine learning, we often call it a loss function. Loss function means I give an answer, but I will tell you how wrong it is. In genetic algorithm, we often call it a fitness function. This is opposite, so telling how good a candidate solution is. So all in all, these type of functions, we have the same purpose, is to evaluate the performance of a provided solution or input. So writing objective function is very important. In this session, we will write the following functions: the mean squared error and the rust region benchmark function. Next session, we will write the binary cross entropy function. Let's see the first one, mean squared error, MSE. So what is mean squared error? The function, we have two inputs. So yi is the true value of the y, that is a ith element. So the yi with the height, this is the ith predicted value of y. So we can see the formula is here. We first get the difference of them, then to the power of 2, then we get the average of them, sum them together and divide it by n. Right? So n is the number of samples. But this is the definition of the mean squared error. So let's give you an example. For example, the true values of the variable y, let's say two instances, is 0.8 and 0.9, and the predictions are the 0.75 and 0.85. So then what is the mean square error? We can calculate using this formula. So two items, we get the difference, the square of them, and then we sum them and divide it by 2, we get this result. For another example, if the predicted values are just 0.8 and 0.9 themselves, then following this formula, the MSE is 0, right? It means perfect prediction. So now we will write this function. So before I show you the answer, I suggest you to pause the video and write it yourself. Then you can look at the answer. So the answer is here. So let's see this function. We call it mean squared error, predicts and the truth. So what I wrote is like this. Predicts minus truth, we get the difference. Then with a dot power, with a 2 here, we get the mean. For this writing, we have two special points. The first one is that traditionally, we hope to use a for loop, right? Because there could be many samples. But we should know that MATLAB support that we may not use a for loop. We just use a vector subtraction. So this one minus this one. So this is vector, this is vector. So this one gets the element by element difference, so saved in the matrix. Then dot power 2, it means that I put each of them with a power to the power of 2, right? Then I don't use add them together and divide. I use a mean function, use MATLAB built-in function. So you can see that in one line, this function is written, right? And this is runs faster than using the for loop, right? So this should be paid attention to in your future programming, right? Make use of the MATLAB's strengths. Because this is one line, I can also write it in the anonymous function format. So we can see we follow this syntax, add the input, we write the function body here, right? This will go to the function name. So then we can use this function, we put x and y, we put it here. This is the answer. So more details, you can see the live script. Now we can see the rust region function. First we see the one-dimensional one. So this is a formula. So I don't read it. We can draw it. So this one is fx equals to x to the power of 2. And so this is a rust region function. So we can see there are many, rugged landscape, right? So we can also go to the 2D formula. So 2D formula, the formula is like this. right? So I don't read it again, and I plot it. The plot is here, so we can see very rugged landscape, right? So this function is used for optimization. So later you will learn in the next course of this specialization. So now let's write this function again. So you can pause the video and write it yourself. So this time I suggest you to write in an anonymous format. So the answer is here, right? So you can see this answer. Raster regions at x, y. This is the function. My first question is that do I must use a dot power and dot multiply, use those things, or I can just remove the dot? This is the first question for you to think and try, right? And after you try it, you find that the answer, you can tell me the reason why it's like that. So this function we can also use as a one-dimensional version. So I put this y as 0. So this becomes one-dimensional, right? So raster region functions are used to test the performance of optimization algorithms. We call it a benchmark test problem. So you will know it later in the future classes. Now I have a question for you. Here I indicate there are two inputs, x and y, or I can say x, y, z, x, y, z, u, w, v. But now we don't do this. What we do is that I only provide a vector x. There's only one x, but this x is a vector. It can be of any dimensionality. It can be 5, 6, 8, 10, 8, 9, 10. So let's say 10d, right? Any d. And given this, I hope you to write a general raster region function. So how can you write it? So this is a question for you to do after class. So that's all for this session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.